Hello and welcome into another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hickson. I'm your lead beat writer for the Arizona State Sun Devils on SI, and I'm so grateful to be joining you on this Thursday morning. We are just at the dawn of Arizona State football spring practices. It is set to take place in roughly an hour, the first session of around 15. And it will be an intriguing time for sure. Lots of interesting position battles going on. Um, we are likely going to get to talk to Kenny Dillingham and possibly another coach and possibly some players after practice. So that will be very eventful. But until then, um, just stay tuned with ASU on SI for all the best Arizona State athletics content as a whole, but football as well. And that leads me into oh yeah, before we get started with the main part of today's episode, Arizona State women's basketball with their first four NCAA tournament game later tonight. Um, First tournament game since 2019. It's going to be absolutely massive, and best of luck to them. If they get a win, they will be playing on Saturday morning, so that will be something to look forward to in that event. Now let's get into the big picture idea of today's episode, which is going to be surrounding how the head coaching search has gone for the men's basketball program. Right now, it's it's very divided amongst the Arizona State fan base, as you probably have seen. There's a crew that wants Derek Glasser. There's a crew that wants Jace Coburn. There's a big crew that wants Randy Bennett. Eric Olin is still in the fold. I feel like Gerard Calhoun would be seen as a much more prime candidate than he is right now, but I think that he is probably going to take one of those jobs in the Midwest or the East Coast. Um, Yeah, we are now over a week into the head coaching search, and it does seem as if things are progressing as planned, although the timeline might not be as rapid or pristine as fans would hope. That's according to insider Chris Karpman, who reported yesterday that the head coach will not be announced or finalized until early next week at the earliest. This makes a lot of sense. I mean, just thinking of it logically without even knowing anything behind the scenes. First off, you don't you spent you poured so many resources and spent so much time trying to rebuild the women's basketball brand under Molly Miller, and if you make a hire during their first tournament game in 7 years, that's 100% taking the focus off of them. And that, even if the intention isn't to be disrespectful, it would maybe come off as that. And I think that Graham Rossini and others are very aware of that, and they wouldn't want to take any attention away from those that 100% deserve unequivocal attention right now. As far as the other piece of the puzzle, why would you make a hire of a head coach without doing your due diligence around the board across the table? Obviously, Gerard Calhoun and Randy Bennett are both still coaching. I believe both of them have games today. Um, Once their seasons are over, if they conclude this weekend, that will be your opportunity to talk to either because you're obviously not talking to them during their seasons. But once the season's over for both of them, that's your chance. And um, it wouldn't make sense to hire a Jace Coburn or an Eric Olin without I mean, even Eric Olin, New Mexico's playing the NIT tournament, so um, wouldn't make any sense to rush in and make a coaching hire just for the sake of making a coaching hire. You need to talk to every single candidate. You need to see what they're thinking, what you're thinking. You need to see if you're aligned, and then go from there. Uh, my hunch is that it still will end up being Randy Bennett, but I would not be surprised if something fell through there or if he just decided to stick at St. Mary's. Although he does have incentive to lead St. Mary's for the first time in his coaching career, and it would make sense for him to come to Arizona. So, as a native, so we'll see what happens. I still think that they have a plethora of quality options at the table. I even think Jace Coburn is probably going to, if he gets hired, he would be a better hire than people would give him credit for. I mean, he did have a slow start to his coaching career at Portland State, but this past year he really showed that he can raise the floor of the program, and he has a lot of passion for Arizona State, much like Kenny Dillingham did when he was incoming. Uh, we'll see what happens, and until once a coaching hire is made, the coach obviously will have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of things to clean up in the weeks ahead. Most importantly, probably is retaining players from last season's roster. Masamba Diop, keeping him is obviously at the very, very top of any coach's uh, to-do list once they take over Arizona State. You just do not want a talent like that to slip through your fingers. That's just not what you want to do. And then Noah Mayus and Santiago Truitt, VJ Wallace. There's some other players that are on the roster right now that can contribute to winning next season. You want to keep all those guys and keep the continuity in place, even with a different coach. Uh, you have to examine your coaching staff. Do you want to retain any coaches that were on Arizona State staff in during the season? Ty Amundsen, Ty Larson, Nick Irvin. Those are the three that you think of when potentially retaining coaches. I think Bobby Jr. and Mickey Mitchell will probably follow Bobby wherever he goes. So that will be interesting to see. And also, you have to attack the transfer portal. You have to oversee the, well, not necessarily oversee. You're going to be right in the middle of the $100 million renovation of Desert Financial Arena. There's so much going on right now in the world of Arizona State basketball, both men's and women's, and it's going to be an exciting ride to see how everything ties together and concludes. My guess, I said I think it's going to be Randy Bennett. I think it will happen next week, uh, barring a St. Mary's run in the tournament, which I do not expect them to take down Houston. So we'll see what happens in the days and weeks to come. Until then, thank you so much for tuning in to another edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. Uh, your support every single day, once again, means the world to me, and I couldn't do it without each and every one of you who are loyal followers of this show. Uh, that's really all I have for today. Until then, stay tuned with Arizona State on SI, and I will see you with another episode tomorrow. Thank you so much.